Hey guys, I have some obviously pretty big news for you regarding Blake Lively's lawsuit against Wayfarer Studios. The studio that was attached to It Ends With Us. Justin Baldoni was previously a party to that case. Of course, if you're watching this, you already know this stuff. I don't need to go into that, right? The case has settled. I do have a statement that I can read for you guys. I'm going to give it just a few minutes here before we start. If you're watching this on replay, I'll put in a timestamp for when I start talking about the statement. But the case has settled. That's official. So um, the thing is, with all the plans for New York and all that I had, I'll still have to go out there for a week because there's some some plans I cannot cancel now, as far as like refunds and stuff. But I'll just be hanging out there, I guess, for a week. And like I said, I'll save the rest of whatever fundraiser we had for the Jones trial, which, as far as I know, has not settled. So Blake Lively's lawsuit against the Wayfair parties is over. It will not be moving forward to trial. And in just a couple minutes here, I'll read you the statement that I have. I know a lot of people are not going to be like super stoked about that. I know a lot of people wanted to see how it would play out. I have to imagine after going through all of this, it has to be some great relief for every party involved on some level. I don't think that they would have done this if they weren't happy with it. Let's put it that way. We're this close to trial, but it is over. So, and it looks like it ended about how you would expect it to if they had settled. I really honestly didn't think they were going to do it. I did not see that happening at all. But I will read it up for you in just a sec. And this is an official statement from the parties. So just give me 1 second to pull it up. And like I said, I want to wait and let a couple more people get in here. I saw that TMZ headline earlier about where they were finally catching on to Blake Lively, saying that she hadn't asked anyone to delete the dailies, which is footage from the movie. And then in her deposition, she said no. And then Ange Giannetti said Blake is asking people to delete the dailies. So, this was about to become another dog pile for her. So the problem with the statement that I have, you guys are going to see this going around in the press. So it's not, the statement's not a secret. It's not an exclusive. But I don't want to show who sent it to me. So I'm not going to show the screen, but I am going to read it to you guys. Actually, you know what? I can copy paste it right here. And my apologies. I was not expecting this. So I'm a little unprepared. This is not a very organized stream. I also want to wait just one more minute. We'll wait till 5 minutes into the stream and then I'll start reading the statement because I want to make sure everybody gets in here to hear it and nobody misses it. But yeah. Look, this was going to be the first time that I ever attended a federal court case. I did go up to the court on June 22nd to hear them argue on the dispositive motions. And it was an experience. But I was kind of looking forward to actually like seeing all that in action. But hey, I'm sure I'll make it to a federal court one day. You guys know I'm preparing to apply for law school again, thinking about that. I don't have anything totally set in stone. I mean, there's still a chance I might not go, but I'm thinking about it. So I demand organization. Well, you shouldn't be telling me that, okay? Because every time I have you in here, you derail me a little bit with your chatting. So, hello, Rachel. I don't think it was for nothing. I mean, he did get a chance to clear his name. I think that her bringing it was kind of for nothing, But I'm sure she thought she had a purpose. But this is gone in a way that's kind of, it's like a handshake, walk away type statement. So I'll show you in 1 second. Let me mute myself for 1 minute, and then we're going to start soon. Okay, it looks like it's popping up in Daily Mail now, so the statement is starting to hit the press. So I have no problem bringing it up and just showing it to you. I just thought, like I said, I don't want to show you the personal details of the person who sent it to me, so I'm not going to do that. We have it here in a Google Doc. If you want to double check me, you can go check it in the mainstream media. It'll show. I'm not making this up. All right. Please see the attached statement of the parties in the Lively v. Wayfarer Studios matters sent on behalf of Brian Friedman, Ellen Garofalo, Michael Gottlieb, and Ezra Hudson. The end product, the movie It Ends With Us, is a source of pride to all of us who worked to bring it to life. Raising awareness and making a meaningful impact in the lives of domestic violence survivors and all survivors is a goal that we stand behind. It's very diplomatic. We acknowledge the process presented challenges and recognize concerns raised by Ms. Lively deserved to be heard. We remain firmly committed to workplaces free of improprieties and unproductive environments. It is our sincere hope that this brings closure and allows all involved to move forward constructively and in peace, including a respectful environment online. And I can understand why this statement is kind of the agreement that they came to. They recognize that she raised concerns that deserve to be heard, but not necessarily that they did anything wrong. You know, anybody who feels uncomfortable in the workplace should have a right to be heard, right? I think most people would agree with that. Anybody deserves the right to file a complaint or to feel heard. And she certainly did. She and her husband apparently screamed at people for hours on end. So they were heard. And they acknowledge that she raised concerns, but that's it. Sometimes you can raise a concern and people will say, well, that's completely fucking unreasonable, which I personally think is kind of what happened here. No, not that they said that, but I think it was unreasonable. For example, the thing where she and her attorney have been standing in front of the courthouse saying Mr. Baldoni found it appropriate to describe his genitalia to women in the workplace, where actually this was a conversation at Miss Lively's home that she started about circumcision because she was about to have her first boy. And they were not coworkers at that time, just friends at her house. So, you know, there's a lot that she's raised where I'm just like, what do you mean that's sexual harassment in the workplace? No. The judge seemed to agree in his ruling that, you know, the director should have some creative license as the director and as the actor in a scene, like the dance scene, to where, you know, he improvised nuzzling or whatever, which we have all seen that footage time and time again. I'll never get out of my brain, right? But it didn't happen exactly how she described it, did it? But she had a right to be heard in that complaint. Does that necessarily mean that she described things accurately? No. This is just, like I said, a very diplomatic statement. I think it gets straight to the point. It's like, we're not going to hear probably much more about this. So Justin lost everything. I think that Justin is going to be okay. I think that this was hard for him, and I think he's been through something terrible and traumatic, right? But I think he's going to be okay. I do. And the Wayfarer parties could not just walk away without Blake Lively's cooperation in this settlement. So it's not like they could have just ended the case at any time, you know? They had to work with her to make this happen. Let me see. We can see if Daily Mail has any more info, but I doubt it. I doubt you're going to get much more information than that. We got an NBC too. Let's see. Yeah, this is the same statement I just read you. Hold on. The lawyer said they acknowledged the process presented challenges and recognized concerns raised by Ms. Lively deserved to be heard. Yep. That's the most you're going to hear of it. They might have agreed that nobody, you know, talks about this in the press. I would say it's likely that they agreed nobody would talk about this in the press. So I know a lot of people are really shocked, but yeah. I think that as hard as this was for him, you know, from the viewpoint of one of us, of people who have been reading and following and commenting on these things, as hard as it was for Justin and them from our standpoint, it must have been way, way worse behind the scenes. I can only imagine the kind of hell that their families have been going through, especially with this being such a public thing. So I don't think that personally, and I know everybody's entitled to their opinions and people are going to feel differently than me, right? I don't feel personally that it was necessarily a bad thing for them to settle. Maybe he doesn't want to go through the trauma of being put in front of the jury and, you know, like poked and prodded at by Michael Gottlieb, who right out of the gate in Justin Baldoni's deposition brought up Justin Baldoni, like the person who sexually assaulted Justin Baldoni and used it to antagonize him. Do I really think that he should have to go and stand up in front of the world and be antagonized because of his experience? No, not if he doesn't want to. You know what I mean? It's not for me to say what he or the family or any of the other parties should want. So I think they did what they feel is best for them with all of the information, right? Because we only have some of it. We don't have everything. We don't see everything, and we never will. But just from what we've seen, it was bad enough that you could tell the guy was going through it. So I really think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to recover. I know a lot of people say they don't think so, but I have faith that he's going to be all right. You know, I have faith that they're all going to be all right. They're going to move forward with their careers eventually. It might be a while. It might be a slow burn, but I think everybody's going to be okay. You know, so. But I definitely don't. I definitely don't fault them for settling if that's what they wanted to do. I mean, a lot of these people, they have kids, you know, and they've already been dragged through the mud in the press. Imagine like their families that they already have to worry about. Steve Sarowitz had an arsonist on his property threatening him over this lawsuit. Like these people have lives and children, and they don't want to probably put them through this either. I mean, think about it. I'm just like some random internet commenter, and I've got some freak tracking down my personal details and calling my phone about this court case. I can't even imagine what they must be going through, right? I don't know what the terms would be as far as like financial stuff going on there, who's paying what, or if anybody's paying anybody, or if they just decided to walk away. We may never know. Probably we'll never know the details of that. So yeah. But it is very difficult to get attorney's fees paid in federal court as well. And this trial was going to be so expensive. And so even if they had won in the trial against Blake, it's very like there's a very good chance that they would never have gotten their attorney's fees paid, and they would have had to pay all these expenses going through trial, which is already traumatic and insane. So yeah, on some level, I'm bummed that I won't get to watch how it plays out after following this whole time, but also understand that this is about them and their feelings and their lives and what they need to do for themselves. So I get it. Britt says she bets it's a walk away. Gotcha. Okay. All right. So Wayfarer wanted to settle or BL. We'll never know. I mean, they both wanted to settle. That's why they settled, right? That's what they ultimately decided was best. So, but I don't know who initiated this conversation. I have no idea. But she, I guess, obviously, it's interesting that after putting out that Instagram statement about how she's doing this for the world's children and stuff, has decided, you know what, maybe we'll just walk off. It's like there's obviously some stuff that was not going to go well for her, and like just look at what came out in the last couple days about her lying in her deposition, apparently. And if you ask me, it looks like she lied in her deposition, right? And that's only the stuff we can see. We'll never see her whole deposition. So there could be a whole host of things in there that she was going to get fried on. And maybe they all just decided, you know, Blake for herself and her reputation, it wasn't going to be worth it. And Wayfarer for themselves, and like not wanting to be put on public trial like this, maybe decided they just wanted to walk away. I don't know. I'm just totally speculating. There's nothing I can tell you that's not in the statement right here. So, but you know, I'll come back and I'll talk about it a little bit more later, probably with Omar, maybe with Rachel if she's around. She might have left. She might be working. I know she doesn't have power in her apartment because everyone hates her. So that's a thing. All right. I think that about does it for now. If you guys just got in here and you were late, I'll read this one more time for you, and then I'll come back later on tonight. It says, please see the attached statement of the parties in the Lively v. Wayfarer Studios matters sent on behalf of Brian Friedman, Ellen Garofalo, Michael Gottlieb, and Ezra Hudson. And I got this from one of the press people just before this news came out. So actually, I think I might have been the first person to get to it, which is crazy. That's pretty cool. The end product, the movie It Ends With Us, is a source of pride to all of us who worked to bring it to life. Raising awareness and making a meaningful impact on the lives of domestic violence survivors and all survivors is a goal that we stand behind. We acknowledge the process presented challenges and recognize concerns raised by Ms. Lively deserved to be heard. We remain firmly committed to workplaces free of improprieties and unproductive environments. It's our sincere hope that this brings closure and allows all involved to move forward constructively and in peace, including a respectful environment online. And one more thing I'll say before I go is that before I decided to take a strong stance in this case, and I've said this before, but a lot of people probably missed it. I talked to people, not the other actors in the film, right? But I talked to people who have at some point in their careers worked with Justin, who know Justin, who love Justin. And I heard from them about what an amazing person he is and the wonderful impact that he had in their lives. And I came to learn a lot about Justin from people who actually know his character. And that's, you know, I made my decision looking at the evidence in the case, but ultimately I felt confident in being so supportive of him because of all the wonderful things that people who actually know Justin had to say about him. I didn't ask them about Blake. I didn't ask them about Ryan. I didn't ask them to tell me anything about the case or the filming. I just asked them about Justin. Who is Justin? Who is this guy to you? And that's what they had to say. So for those people who may be watching right now, thank you so much for sharing that with me. I am feeling some level of relief for you right now because I know you were feeling his pain this entire time, and I know it's been tremendously difficult, and it has been hard to watch that happen. So, all right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you, and I'll be back later tonight. Don't forget to hit the like button for me. It helps me out a lot, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.